What is going on YouTube and Diablo fans? My name's Andreas and welcome back to Mana and Motherboards. Now the other day we had just finished Hull with our Fire Warlock and we needed to start farming some gear and some charms for better resistances to farm in Hull, as well as some bases for the Ruin Words to get this build up and running. So we thought for an elemental build there's no better place than the cow level, so we decided to do 50 cow runs and see what we could find along the way. So let's dive right into run number one. So on run number one we managed to drop this war hat, and that's a unique war hat, and some of you might know what this is. It is a peasant crown, and peasant crown is very useful for casters, and it's a very nice upgrade from the lore helm that my character currently has. So that was a very nice find for run number one. And then moving right into run number three, we managed to snag this serpent skin armor, which of course a lot of you will know it is skin of the Viper Magi, which is, other than Enigma, probably one of the strongest armors or slot item in armor that you can have for any of the current Warlock builds in the meta. So this was an absolutely fantastic find for run number three. Now next up on run number 11, so quite a bit of a gap there, we managed to get this unique Balrog blade, and that is a flame-based item and a possible alternative to leaf if you haven't made one yet. That is the Flame Bellow Balrog blade, and while it's not better than a spirit, it is still a decent find. Now moving on to run number 14, we then found a white monarch, which is the perfect base to socket and make yourself a spirit shield. Then next up on run number 16, we dropped a set of Demonite boots, unique Demonite boots, and there was a bit of an unfortunate one with this, and they rolled ethereal, and while those can be quite useful for characters running Ubers, being Inferno Stride, they are not much use ethereal, so that was a bit of a disappointment. Then moving on to run number 20, this was actually outside of the cow level. On our way to getting Wirt's leg to open up the cow level, we managed to find a Grand Charm, a Geed's Grand Charm, which will give us that extra MF and reduce vendor costs, as well as more gold find. Now we found a elite ethereal polearm base here, being a cryptic axe, and we wanted to roll 4 or 5 sockets in that, so unfortunately this didn't hit the mark and that wasted that nice ethereal base of that cryptic axe. Oh well. Moving on to the next one, in run 23 we found a green set corona. Now that can only be one thing, and we wish that it would have rather have turned out to be a Crown of Ages. Nonetheless, it is a Griswold's Valor, and that is quite a rare helmet, but not that much use. Just a cool find for the Chronicle in that. So we found another Monarch, and it was socketed, but only 2 sockets, so that was a bit of a waste. And then after that, in run 31, we found a ethereal Ogre Axe, which then again only rolled 1 socket as opposed to the 4 or 5 we were looking for, so that was a bit of a waste and a disappointment again. Then a big find here on run number 32, we got a unique ring. Now there's so many options that could be, and of course it's a mantled heel ring. So yeah, to say I was disappointed would be an understatement. That always gets you excited and then doesn't seem to happen. Now on run number 37 we dropped a swirling crystal, and that is a unique swirling crystal as well as a set of war boots. So that would be the Oculus, which is a fantastic weapon for a lot of sorks, and Immortal King's boots. Now unfortunately Oculus isn't worth that much at this point in time in the ladder, but it's a nice find nonetheless. Then in run number 42, or actually this was run number 37 again, the same run as that Oculus, we managed to find a 3-socketed Mage Plate, which is quite a nice base for a lot of rune words. And then just after that we also managed to find an elite Great Halberg, which is a great armor to socket for mercs, and that rolled 4 sockets, so quite useful. It wasn't quite the 3 I was looking for treachery, but still good nonetheless. And then in run number 42 we managed to find another elite polearm base, and that is a man catcher. So we decided to socket that and check what we got, again hunting for that 3 or 4 sockets, oh sorry, 4 or 5 sockets, not 3 or 4, and we missed the mark again, which is unfortunate. It seems to be the case for the day. And then in our last run of any good items that we dropped, which is run 44, we found a set of goblin toe boots, which are great melee boots. Now that sort of wraps up our 50 cow runs in 5 minutes there. The drops were alright, nothing spectacular, but I did gain about 10 levels from the mid 70s into the mid 80s or so, and I must say that the Fire Warlock was really effective and really fantastic at doing these runs. It's a really powerful character for this, and it really just makes mincemeat out of big dense areas like the cow level, and I was very impressed with it. But that being said, I thought we're getting into Hull and I want to farm a couple different areas, so I decided to go with the meta movement and put my respec into Echoing Strike. Now part of me thinks that maybe this is a bit boring, a bit cookie cutter, because everyone in the season I think will be going Echoing Strike. I think that eventually I want to go Miasma as my ultimate build, but Echoing Strike for the moment will allow me to farm all the areas that I want, all the terror zones that I want, and it's just a bit more versatile in that way than the fire build. And I'm not taking anything away from the fire build. With the right gear as well as the right merc and the right bound demon, it can farm effectively everywhere, but on a budget option, I think for the investment and value, Echoing Strike can't really be beat at the moment. But I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments below, and let me know, what are you going to be playing? The Fire Warlock, the Miasma Warlock, possibly even Echoing Strike, like I mentioned, a lot of people will be playing. If you can see here the comparison, which do you think does better in cows? So please let me know in the comments below, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to this video, and any likes, shares, views, all of that is always much appreciated, and we'll see you again soon in the next one for some more Mana and Motherboards. Cheers, peace.